Hello everybody. Welcome aboard this unannounced and unofficial live show. And I hope you enjoy. This is CHU on 3330. So down here. So let me just get this here in the chat room. And we should be working not too bad. Hope everybody is okay. Just check that. Apparently I'm live right now. Apparently. That's what it says here. And just check it works. Yeah, it does. It does work. Hallelujah. Hello, everybody. Nice to see all of you. And I see the chat room here. Should be okay in a few seconds. Hello. 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 Is it me you're looking for? And here we go. So I called this the Thursday night shortwave fun time. Why not? So I went out and did some exercise. I started a exercise program to keep in shape. And I went outside and did some jogging and all sorts of little exercises for an hour and a half. And I feel, let's do a live show. So, what do we have? Oh, voice and report of the week on 5850. Let's check that out. Let's check that out. 5850. Yeah.
Check the video section of my channel, and I see that my video review of Popeye's chicken strips, the freaking chicken, is permanently demonetized by manual review. That means that it wasn't done by any algorithm or a physical human employee at YouTube. Went ahead.
Hi, he's doing what I do regularly, ranting about YouTube. He's talking about something about his channel that got demonetized. And, you know, you get that all the time, so at some point you just gotta live with it at some point, because it's like nuts. You go crazy with YouTube if you start going nuts with, you know, all of that. So hey everybody, welcome aboard, and hope you're enjoying our live show, our unannounced and unofficial live show here. So, Charles Williams, hello there. Dan Walsh, hello there. Ernie Turner, hello there from Australia. VK3DET. A little later for you guys than the usual, you know, like 7 a.m. or something. MDK2 is nice to be here. Thundercat1. Got a new shiny Texan PL 880. Oh, have you started using it a little bit? That's a nice radio. Hope you're happy. Hey, Tim. Nice to have you on board. Not really testing today. Just thought, let's go live on the radio channel. I was listening in, and you know, the other night I was listening in like for a couple of hours, and I posted a few videos of some of the things I was receiving, and the guy posted as a comment, well, you were listening to the radio, why not go live, you know? And well, one of the things that of course is that sometimes I won't go live is that I don't always feel like talking, you know? Sometimes you're listening to the radio, you just want to enjoy the radio. When I do a live show, I can not really enjoy the radio, I have to talk. So, you know, sometimes it's just, and I would feel awkward just, you know, leaving the camera on and me tuning, saying nothing. It's kind of not, you know, what I like to do. So that's pretty much it. Manny CV, hello there. Nice to have you here. Bobby Burgess, yes, kind of unexpected. Absolutely, it's nice to have all of you here. So, anyways, I watching Swamp People. Wow. Tim says I choose to go live myself on a whim, more natural and fun. It is, you know, sometimes I used to do this all the time on the radio channel, by the way. And you know, when I started doing more live shows, as I was doing more live shows, well, I was enjoying more the days that I would not do live shows. So I would take, you know, time off instead, which was, you know, and there's a kind of a something that I miss from the fact that you can, you know, like go live just on a whim. And I thought I'd go live with SDR console on my laptop. This is my Windows Insider laptop running SDR console. I've actually made the display a little wider, so I got 1 megahertz across here that I think is manageable, and it's nice to see all the spikes and everything. I was playing around because I had missed that there was some menus down here with noise reductions, which seem to do an interesting job here. So, you know, so noise reduction, there's the AGC, there's a noise blanker, there's a few things that I was looking at, and, you know, so if you play around here, if I go, for example, there's actually some help in the noise reduction. I like Voice of the Reporter of the Week. It like just is, you know, it's just, it's the equivalent. I find it the equivalent of kind of the equivalent of my YouTube shows, but in the form of a shortwave radio show. So 5850 for those of you that want to tune it. Voice of the Reporter of the Week via WRMI on 5850. So kind of nice to be here. Wired and Wound, nice to have you here. Thank you very much for the nice comments. And cool. I like to see you guys too. You know, when there's some, sometimes you guys put a video or you just put an image, a photo of yourself as a thumbnail or something. It's kind of fun to see the faces. It's always interesting because you hear the voice of someone and you make yourself an image. And it's never what it seems. I mean, every time you hear the voice of someone, you just can't, you don't, and you see that person, and you're like, wow, that guy has that voice. It reminds me of a fun moment that I had here, and we had a little laugh about it. I locked myself out of the house about 5 years ago. And to get inside, we had to call a locksmith. So when the phone when the phone answers, it's a woman on the other end, and I say, well, I locked myself. I need help getting back inside my home. And so I think it's a woman that's coming. But when I when I open the door, it's actually this 5'1" skinny guy that I am totally serious, talks like a woman. And I'm like, man, I told her, thank you, ma'am, when he was about to come over. Thank you, ma'am. It's like, oh man, it's not a woman, it's a guy. It's just so funny. But the funny thing is the guy looks super masculine, you know, with the big mustache and everything. But he has this little high-pitched, womanly voice. And I'm like, oh man, I'm so sorry I called him. I said, thank you, ma'am, on the phone. I was embarrassed when the guy came over, and I was like, oh man, it's not a woman. And at first I thought, well, okay, they sent in the guy. But when he opens his mouth and starts talking, it's like, oh man, no, that's the woman I talked on the phone. I was like, okay. And you know what? I'm sure that guy probably gets called a woman all the time over the phone. And it must be Oh man, he must be he must be so mad at some point when you're just like everybody, calling you a woman when you're a man. That I'll never forget that. And I was in the lawn. I was with some friends. So when we got inside, we all started laughing. I said, "Man, I thought a woman was coming to open the door, not a man." Crazy. Unfortunately, you know, it's sad because that guy's born like that. I don't know. Uh, Firefly. Hey there. Good morning. Nice to have you here. Dan Walsh says the color temp seems to be off tonight. Slightly yellow tint. It is not off. It is because the lighting is yellowish. The camera from the phone actually displays really the actual color. So it is yellowish because the lights are yellowish. And so I'm not sure if I want to, maybe one thing I could do to help out here, to make it a little wider, is open that other spot here. This one makes it a little wider. And don't mind the display that goes blank from time to time. Since the new build today of Windows, my display goes blank for a couple of seconds every few seconds. For some reason, there's like some kind of HDMI weirdness. So maybe it's a little better like this. But the lights on each side, because right now I've got 4 spots. 2 that are fairly bright white, and 2 on the sides that are fairly yellowish. So it actually is a representation of the real color. So the color is not off, it's actually the real color. And because I'm using my Galaxy S7 camera instead of my Logitech C920, it also changes slightly, probably because it's not the same camera. Handy Cody, nice to have you here. Very nice to have all of you here. So yeah, it does, but it's the lighting system that's like that a little bit. Handy K2, yes, I am using SDR console tonight. Well, I thought, at first I thought, well, let's I'll fire up my desktop, and then I said, yeah, I'm using SDR console tonight, and I want to try to get used to it. So I'm forcing myself to use it more. So I thought, why not? And on my Ubuntu machine, I installed GQRX, and I've not been able yet to connect to my Fedry with it. I've put the IP address and everything, and it doesn't connect, and I don't know why. So I'm going to try to manage that, because I'd like to have GQRX on Linux connect to my Fedry. I like that too. So what else is there? So it's the lighting. By the way, for the color, absolutely, it's the lighting. The two lights on the side are kind of yellowish, a little bit like a 40 watt. I'd call it yellowish, like a 40 watt incandescent bulb. If you guys have ever seen the incandescent bulbs, like 40 watts, they're kind of more yellow than white. So that is the equivalent, but these are much stronger, and these are not incandescent. They are LED bulbs. Muglone, hey there, nice to have you here. David Snyder says, if anyone wants to test his ICOM R75 on Global Tuners, its name is Staten Island. Check it out. I've tried it a few times. It's been a while since I've tuned it. I need to go back and tune it again on Global Tuners. And by the way, on the International Radio Report, when I'll be back in 2 weeks, we're going to talk about online receivers. So we'll mention all of that, Global Tuners and SDR.HU and so on. Robert Prosper, nice to have you here. Patrick Manny, hello there. Hello there. Yeah, he was probably used to it. Yeah, thank you, man. Samos, thank you, man. Like, oh, man. I was so, I was so, I was really, this is not as good a story when you answered the door while hanging out of your underpants. Well, that one was kind of interesting. When Tim refers to probably when I got my Galaxy S7 phone, I was, I got it on Saturday, and I was totally not expecting a Saturday delivery. I mean, you don't expect the guys to come on a Saturday, especially in Canada. Nobody comes on Saturday for packages. So, and I had gone to Zoe Bar on Friday night. So I was kind of tired. I'd come home at like 3 a.m. But I wasn't, I wasn't hangover or anything. I was just, sleeping. And the buzzing of the door, and I'm like, what the hell is that? And, it's Saturday, so I'm pretty sure it's Jehovah's Witnesses. But I have a hunch. Something tells me, man, what about if it's my phone? So I get up, I'm in my boxer shorts, and I open the door, and the guy's there. And it is my phone. But the thing is, it was morning, and guys, when they wake up in the morning, sometimes they are manly. And so I was pretty much, it was up and ready. So I tell the guy, I'm so sorry you answered the door like this. And he's looking at my crotch, and he's like, well, I've never had anybody answer the door like that. And I look down and I see that I'm all man. And I'm like, man, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And I close the door and I'm laughing, and I'm like, oh God, this is the most weird moment. This is the weirdest moment ever to get a package. And the guy couldn't stop looking there. I was like, I was thinking, well, maybe he's enjoying it. I don't know. Robert Prosper says, in New York, you'd be brought up on charges for that story. Oh, man. Bullfrog89, hey there, KD2CXU. Nice to have you here. Won't be here long, exhausted. No problem, my friend. Hey, Patrick Manny. Yo, hoser. Jack and 9IIF, hey there. Nice to have you on board. Firefly said, I just got a new mobile Huawei Mate 10 Pro. It's the best phone I have used just for doing a few video for YouTube. Cool. Really nice. Really nice. So let's go down. Yeah, well, you have improved it somewhat, Tim. It was yesterday. Your live stream was actually not bad at all. Cosmic Lettuce. Hey, what's this? It's competition. No, it's not. I thought I'd just, let's just, go live and have fun. David Snyder, what's the name of the magnifying glass on the desk? Looks like could be used for my stamp collecting hobby. Yeah, absolutely. I'm not sure I've got a model or name to it. If I look inside it, I don't have any name or model to it. I went to a hardware store. Like here was like a Canadian Tires. And I started looking at the lamps they had. They had all sorts of lamps, but they had one desk lamp with a magnifying glass on it. And I thought, wow, to do little electronic stuff, with the soldering iron and all of that, I thought that could be really nice. Or even, to fix little things that are really small. It's great. And you could have that. You go to any hardware store that sells a lot of lights, and I'm pretty sure they have something like that. I've seen this so many places. I paid, I don't know, $30 for it. Something like 30 or $40 for it. Matrix 54X, nice to have you here. Anything else? Let's go down. Gordon Treadwell, hey V6GPT, good evening. Not bad at all. Just enjoying the day. I did some YouTube videos today. Those that follow my tech show, I took a decision to kind of, not do any tech shows on Thursday until September. I need to rethink my strategy of live shows for the tech stuff. No impact on my radio shows. The radio shows continue as they are, so no problem. And I've actually installed an app to make exercise on my phone because I thought, I'm losing weight, and I thought, why not? I want to, let's keep in shape everywhere. And there's this nice app, it's a free app, and you have different levels, and they make you do all sorts of exercises to keep all the muscles working well. So I started tonight, and I even did a little bit of jogging. So it's kind of nice, and it was a beautiful day outside, so and not too hot, so it's just perfect. So yeah, everything's going well, and I thought I came back and was like, yeah, man, you know what? I think I wanna, just do a live show. Let's go live just for the fun of it, which it's always kind of nice. So 44 people watching right now, pretty cool. So what else do we have? Billy Laptop, hey, nice to have you here. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Yeah, I showed him my package pretty much in full in full swing. I don't know how to say it. Oh man. Mo Jim, nice to have you here. Jane Dagger, nice to have you here. Wow, it's been a while. I made it here while talking about a crotch. So nice to have you here. Thanks for the help with the texting the other day. Oh, my pleasure. It's fun to be here. Hey, Brett, KC2NXP, nice to have you on board, as always. And that's pretty cool. No alcohol, not even anything to drink right now. So, what else do we have? What else do we have? Piet Mondrian student. Hey, nice to have you here. Pretty cool to have you on board. Yeah, well, it all in the RAM video, Tim, came from the fact that there was a nice study that actually showed that nobody, like 90% of the people use nothing on the computer, so they don't need that much RAM. It's just don't go below 4 gigabytes, that's for sure. What else do we have? John Young, nice to have you here. It says you can find those magnifying lamps at yard sales, thrift stores for a few bucks. Well worth it. Oh, absolutely. Anybody that does some kind of hobby that, sometimes you like to see the small details. This is great. I use this all the time. I'm starting to get a little more difficulty. I have a high kind of an eye disease that I won't go blind, but has deteriorated my vision quite a lot, and I have to say that thing saves my life all the time, because every time I want to read fine print, or a stamp collection would be great. I mean, watching the stamps with that, see the fine details on stamps and stuff. And wow, I haven't done stamp collecting. The last time I did stamp collecting, I was like a teenager. I would go in the kitchen, and my dad would do that, and I had my own stamp album, and it was kind of a dad and son thing that I didn't do very often, but we did it a few times. It's kind of cool. It was kind of cool. I remember seeing all those stamps, and being in Shortwave, what's cool is that you had stamps on a lot of envelopes. Of course, there's a lot of stamps that were just printed stamps, but it was kind of fun. What else do we have? So take care, Firefly. It was nice to have you on board. G8 SBS. Yeah, it's late there where you are. I do realize that in Europe it's very late, as here it's 9:30 p.m. So and it's dark. It's been dark for the past 30 minutes. The sun sets at like 8:45 p.m. Here at this time. It will set around 9 p.m. on the 21st when we get the longest day of the year. Jane Dagger says Shelly is all package all the time. Oh God. Billy Laptop says I exercise every day. I surf the internet for at least 12 hours. That's like that you know, you're surfing. Surfing. Hey Blassie, nice to have you here. Yeah, get your nephew, he has drinks. Absolutely, I know. I know. He's been out at the Formula One stuff. There was there are like several days of Formula One things. He's a big fan of Formula One racing. And it's Formula One racing this weekend here in Montreal. So he's probably exhausted from his first day at going at that event. Take care, KD2CXU. It was nice to have you here. What about the NASA news? I saw that the I just see that the astronauts, some astronauts have gone to the International Space Station. What are the minimum specs for PC for software-defined radio? Piet Mondrea student. You don't need a very powerful PC, honestly. The oldest PC I got here that I'm running a Fedry SDR on is a Core 2 laptop that is 10 years old. I bought it in 2008. And it works fine. It actually works fine. So it gives you an idea that SDRs don't take that much power. This is a laptop that is a Core i3 with 4 gigabytes. And look at that, the CPU usage is 24% for, you know, doing the SDR with SDR console. You don't need really that much of a powerful laptop, honestly. And if you have an Android device, you can maybe even use a SDR Touch, like on an Android tablet, and it's going to work. Rover found carbon molecules. Okay, kind of interesting. It's fun to see all these news, you know, all the news from everywhere. So going down. Sorry if I'm a little late sometimes. And what else do we have? It's nice to see here. Hey, Thomas Taylor, nice to have you here. Pretty cool. Yeah, rover on Mars for organic molecules. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. What is the, Mo Gem says, what is the equipment you have software running on your desktop shortwave radio? It's a Fedry, A-F-E-D-R-I, a Fedry. And it's a long wave, medium wave, short wave software defined receiver. So it's a little box. It's in the corner there. I can't really show it much. It's attached to my outdoor sloper antenna. It is plugged in my router and it is sending through my network on this SDR console software here. What I like is sometimes I take my laptop, I want to listen to shortwave in the kitchen. I'm cooking something, like today, doing hamburgers and fries, and on the barbecue. Bring the laptop, start HDSDR or SDR console, and I can listen to shortwave from that little box anywhere in my home, as long as the signal's good enough for the Wi-Fi. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Thank you, Farrowfly. Always nice. And tomorrow, 2000 hours UTC, by the way. Those that wonder, I have a live show tomorrow, and it is going to be at 2000 hours Universal Time. So, and I'll have beer. I will have my beer. And I actually got a donation today, specifying that part of it was for me, part of it was for Paul the Cat, and the rest was for beer for the Friday shortwave show. So I will, of course, honor that donation. David Snyder, what happened to your stamp collection? Inherited my dad's stamp collection when he passed away 26 years ago. My dad and I went to stamp shows in Madison Square Garden in Manhattan when I was a kid. You know what? What happened is we had a fairly big stamp collection, and I kind of got off that when I was maybe 18 or 19 years old, and didn't think about it anymore. And all the stamp stuff were in boxes that my dad had. And what happened is when I moved away, my mom and dad separated. I moved away in an apartment, and my dad had all of that. He moved with a woman that he met a couple of years after in a small city south of Montreal. And you know what? I would have to ask him if he still has something. And honestly, I doubt he has anything. And the reason why is because when he probably kept it until when he lived with that woman, they had a very small apartment, and they didn't have space for all the stuff that my dad had. So he rented a place to put his stuff, and the place where he rented actually went bankrupt, and the bank seized everything, including everything my dad had, because there was no like official papers about the stuff that was there that was my dad. So I would guess everything was there, and that when the bank got hold of everything, I would guess everything's got disappeared at that moment. Everything gone. So I'm pretty sure that's pretty much. But he had a really big stamp collection. Mine was a very small one. It was like that was more like the fun of it. But he had a pretty big one, and he was kind of serious about it for a while. But so hey, Cosmic Lettuce, nice to have you on board as usual, and of course, peace, and happiness. Go check my tech channel, Cosmic Lettuce, if you have time. I posted a 14-second video where I will take over the world with my spaceship. Oh man. If I don't finish too late, I'll try to get part of your show, Cosmic. Does SDR support Linux? Yes, there is a software that I've installed actually on my Ubuntu machine called GQRX. It's supposed to work with a lot of software-defined receivers. I haven't been able, and I'm trying, man. I haven't been able to run the ephedra yet, but I want to try it, and I want to have it run because I want to do a few videos for those that are on Linux, because I know there are people on Linux, and so I will. I really want to have try to have GQRX running with my ephedra for sure. Is there a filter for RFI you could use? You know what? The biggest problem here is that the interference I get is from everywhere around me. So there's really nothing much to do except move away or maybe use some kind of, like a loop, maybe a magnetic loop antenna, for sure, Mojem, wow, this is cool. SDR, right? Yeah, software-defined radio. Absolutely, absolutely. And this was running through my home network. So I actually hooked up my laptop with gigabit Ethernet because I've got a router capable of gigabit Ethernet connections to make sure that everything's the fastest possible. But honestly, on 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi, and not on 2.4. On 2.4, I have to really narrow down the bandwidth because it cuts all the time. There's too much data being sent. But on 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi, I am able to run 600 kilohertz wide spectrum easily. And if the connection is really good, I can even go to 1 megahertz easily with the SDR wirelessly on 5 gigahertz. And that is kind of fun. But to give you an idea, listening in, look at that. I've been, I don't know if I can see there somewhere. Can I see it somewhere? I don't know if I can see it somewhere. I I need to go to the other, not this one. This is the regular. Just to give you an idea, running this for an hour is about 30 gigabytes of data through my network. It's completely nuts the amount of data. At one megahertz, it's a lot of data. It's gigabytes and gigabytes easily going through the router. So you got to get a good router also. Patrick Manny, good question. Does that TV interfere with your radio reception? Just a little bit. I have noticed that when I change screens on certain frequency ranges, I have a slight buzzing. So that TV does slightly, but not enough to impact most of the listening I will do. But I do hear a difference when I change screens. Sometimes there's a little more noise. But for example, when the darker it is on the screen, the less noise I hear, and the whiter it is, the more I do hear some stuff. So that's the thing. Pietmont, the student, are you able to receive RNZI with your Texan or other small radios? I've received Radio New Zealand very, very well with my Texan PL. What was it? I received it with my Ethon Traveler 3 and my Texan PL 680 last week. It was coming in really well just with the telescopic. When the signal's good, I've received it on 13840 and it was amazingly good. Around 0300, I would say. David Snyder says has a conference call 5 p.m. Friday, so don't think I can make it. No problem. We have our lives too. You know, it's not just Jill. I can tell you that. No problem, Tim Robinson. You've been very generous anyways, you know. And there's no problem there. You know, donate if you can. If you can't, it's quite all right. We all have, you know, our little moments where we can't. Indicate2 says, I've got an old IBM monitor that I took from work when they didn't need it anymore. Seems to work. Well, if it does work, you know, why not use it? Why not use it? Monjem says, my dad and model train set was an HO scale. I had some. I actually had enough tracks for the HO scale to do a huge train track. And we had a few trains when I was young. And my brother worked in a hobby shop. I was about 15 or 16. And he got home. He would have the stuff at like cost, which means it was really inexpensive compared to what you could pay in the stores. And he got home one day with like 5 different train sets. And he looked at me and said, here, they're yours. And I remember having tons of fun with that when I was younger. And I would put all the tracks from all the sets because they were all HO scale, so they were all compatible. And I have a lot of fun with that. But I had a uncle, and I wish, you know, there would be a picture of that today. An uncle of mine had a huge setup of HO scale train. It would take a whole room. He had one of the big, he lived in a big house, and one of the biggest rooms in his house, it was a huge, huge train set. All set up, tracks were nailed to a piece of plywood, and it was like beautiful, you know, it was professionally made with houses and trees and everything. And man, I remember when I was 10 or 11 years old, we would go to that uncle's place. He would live in Sherbrooke. And I remember every time my dad and mom said, hey, we're going at Gérard, which is the name of my uncle. I remember as that little 10-year-old kid that I was like, oh yeah, gonna play with the trains all weekend. So it's like, you know, it was no problem. And I remember my brother didn't want to go when he was young. And they were all telling him, well, you know, Look, your brother isn't the problem. He always wants to go. Of course, I want to play with the trains. Joe Blogs, nice to have you here. Ivan, nice to have you on board, Ichalakos. And things are pretty good, pretty good. Yeah, it's sad, David, that what happened. And he had a lot of stuff. Actually, you know what? There's not just the stamp collection that's sad, David. What is sad, he had two shortwave radios that probably would be in my collection today from the 80s. And they got scooped up also. Because I remember before it happened, I was about to ask him, you know, if you're doing nothing with shortwave radios, can I pick them up? I'll add them to the radios that I've got, you know? And basically, when they scooped everything, they scooped the two radios. It was really sad. He lost a lot of stuff in there. There were some, my dad liked to do model, you know, all sorts of model boats and planes. Real complex stuff. And he had like tons of these unfinished that he had put away, you know, and everything was scooped up. It was really, really one of the, you know, one of the sad moments where like, okay, you lost everything because there's no papers and that idiot didn't pay his rent at the storage place, you know. So it's crazy, really crazy. Yeah, it does almost feel like Friday night. The only thing missing is beer. With beer, I would feel kind of, you know. Bobby says, if you think your radio shows motivates you more than tech shows, then do more radio shows. Yeah, I'm thinking of doing more radio shows. Actually, I'm thinking of doing more of these unannounced shows during the summer. And from everywhere. I mean, now I'm doing it from here, but when there's going to be some really warm nights, maybe from the park or from, you know, in the daytime, maybe from Perry Island. Like tomorrow is because there's a chance of rain and it won't be very warm. Because tomorrow, one of the things I wanted to do is do it from Perry Island, but we'll see. Maybe next week. Next week, Friday, is supposed to be 27 Celsius. That's about 80 Fahrenheit, a little more than 80 Fahrenheit. So I thought if it is 27, Friday next week, what will be the 15th, I might be doing it from Perry Island live, which I think that will be a lot of fun. Take care, Mo and Jem. Nice to have you here. And take care, my friend. Take care, Tim. Always nice to have you on board, as usual. Yeah, we had one Lionel train also. I don't remember what happened to it. So take care, Tim Robinson. Always nice to have you on board. About the monitor here, about the noise. Yeah, it does do a little bit of noise. But not that much, honestly. Not enough to impact. Aaron Mitchell, nice to have you here. You must have a good antenna. I have a 22 meter long, or roughly 80 feet long, sloper antenna in the backyard. It's, you know, it's a little noisy, but it works, you know. Yeah, well, you know what? It's not just less energy to the monitor, Jane Dagger. I think it's also because of there's less, you know, when it's dark, that area of the screen doesn't have anything to do. So it's like the circuit maybe is like buzzing less or something. I don't know. No problem, Jane Dagger. Hey, Fastload. Nice to have you here. So, you know, it's, what else do we have? Rod Zav, nice to have you here. What kind of antenna you use for shortwave reception? So, like I just said, a 22 meter long sloper. It's like a wire, long wire at an angle, east-west direction. Wired and round. What's my favorite shortwave radio? Well, it depends on what type of radio we're talking. If we talk about tabletop, well, my ICOM ICR 8500 right here is a winner. The Ephedry SDR, amazing device. Portable, my Grenadier G5 is the definite winner of all the radios in the portable section of mine. But, you know, I've got a few, I'd say I have a few second or third places, like the Texan PL 680 would be one. The Degen D1103 would be one. Actually, the TS 505 is not bad, actually. So, you know, Texan PL 600. Helen Carden, nice to have you here. Thank you very much. Nice to have all of you on board. A DX160 for 50 bucks. That's not bad. Yeah, Fastlow scored a DX302 for $5. Not too bad. Yvonne says, I just bought an Eton satellite with SSB and RDS from Canada for 65. Delivered. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. What else do we have? Well, this is a TV, actually. What I'm using here is an actual TV. This is a 32-inch Sony TV. It has a I use it through the HDMI ports, but it also has a VGA port, which a lot of TVs today have decided not to put anymore. Priyat Mondrian, student, do you have a match tuner for the antenna when shortwave listening? Nope, it's straight off the antenna directly. No tuning, no tuner on the reception side. Would an old analog TV antenna, VHF, UHF combo work as a shortwave antenna? It is on a 50-foot tower. You know, these are really cut to be in the VHF, UHF frequency range, which is really much higher. You know, starting at, what, channel 2 is like 56 megahertz or 57 megahertz. So they're really cut for much higher frequencies. I would not think they would, you know, they would work somewhat, because anything that is an antenna outside will definitely do something, but it's very, very different. The other thing also is that these antennas are on a very different connection. They typically were something like 300 ohms or something on the coax cable or something, or 75 ohms. 75 to 50 is not going to be, it's not necessarily going to be that much of a mismatch, but I'm not sure they would be, you know, that great, honestly. I don't think they would be very good at it, personally. What else do we have? And don't forget that if you guys want to have a QSL card from North Korea, they seem to have opened the mail, because a lot of people are sending in a reception report for North Korea. They seem to be sending out these QSL cards. I'm jealous. I want to have a North Korean QSL now. I had to check that out, but I'm not receiving Voice of Korea at all. Brazilian DX, it's nice to have you on board. My favorite stations are the Texan PL 660 and PL 360. Both are great radios, honestly. Chalakov says, time to sell the older Sanjian 909. So, what else do we have? The DX160. David Steiner says DX60 was 160 was his second radio. First was a Candle portable. Wow, Candle. I'm still trying. Wow, I remember that brand, Candle. Man. Bought a Panasonic RF2800 with digital readout. I miss my RF2800. I should have never sold my RF2800. Never. I regret selling it totally. It was a nice little radio. It's a nice little radio. Sony 2010 is great. Drake RAB, one of the best shortwave radios out there. And the ICOM R75, great radio. It's sad that they've discontinued the R75. It was a really good radio, and you know, just at a certain price point where it wasn't actually that expensive, you know, that somebody can actually manage to get. It's not like the ICOM Hero was a $2,000 radio, which is really, really expensive. I've heard the buzzer UVB76 on 4625 about a month ago. I'd say about a month ago. I hadn't heard it in a while. I can try it now, but I don't think I'll hear anything because at this time of year, most of the path is almost always in daylight. Nothing here. We could see here the Kodar, the chirps of the Kodar. Which is radar that checks for the height of ocean waves. What else do we have? Rod Zav. Were you lucky enough to hear the Lincolnshire Poacher when it's still broadcast? I heard the Lincolnshire Poacher a couple of times in the early 90s. Late 80s, early 90s, maybe. I remember hearing it a couple of times. At that time, I had no idea what that was. At that time, I didn't even know what number station was. So I remember hearing it. And felt that it was like kind of creepy to listen to. But back then, I didn't know nothing about that. Nothing about radio in general. You know, I was still a very... you know, it's not like today. Today you got, you know, my live shows, you got tons of YouTube videos, you've got tons of information on the internet that explains a lot of what we hear, what we can tune in. You know, back in the 80s, there were books. You had to buy books. Part of my listening in the 80s, I was a teenager, I had no money. You know, I had a $5 allowance a week at some point. So I started learning more about shortwave and number stations when I joined a club. I joined two clubs pretty much at the same time. At that time there was one called the Club en Côte du Québec, a French language Quebecois club. And there's the other one, which was the Canadian International DX Club that we talk again today, that Sheldon is president. And that's when I started really understanding more about my hobby, because they had articles about that. Then when I got my first job, now I could afford buying books, real books. And they weren't that expensive back then compared to today. And I remember I bought tons of books of radio, shortwave radio. I would buy magazines. I remember buying the Popular Communications magazine. Then downtown here in Montreal, we had a place that actually sold monitoring times during the 90s, which was a big influence. That helped me a lot. Monitoring Times was one of the great magazines that helped me a lot learn more. But for the first 6 or 7 years of my hobby, I didn't know. I learned the basics of propagation. I learned the basics of where, you know, I knew where the stations, international broadcast stations were, things like that. But I didn't know nothing. I didn't know much about the hobby at all, honestly. You know? That's crazy. Oh, I'll be checking that out, Yvonne. He's W6 LVP loop. Is now connected to Keyways DR. Cool. cool. That is nice. That is nice. I'm gonna check that out. The buzzer Piet Mondrian student is 4625 upper sideband. 4625 upper sideband. David Snyder says, when I was able to buy the R75 used on eBay for $350. Great radio and works with global tuners. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Really nice. Really nice. Snyder says, back then none of us knew what the number stations were. It was very creepy. Yeah, it was, you know, we didn't know anything. So it's a nice price. Yeah, $350 for the R75 is a good price. Robert Prosper says, I picked up a new Texan R9012 for about $13.50 delivered. And sensitivity is weak, FM sucks, but shortwave is not bad. Shortwave is surprising on that radio, the R9012. Really, really surprising. I need to revisit that radio, the R9012, and tune around a little more. Do a few videos, that'd be nice. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Yeah, well, monitoring times, Robert Prosper, if you don't mind having a electronic publication instead, the Spectrum monitor is and feels like the monitoring times, totally. It's just that it's a PDF that you get every month, and it's like $30 a year US, but it's crazy. How many people can use that 20 SDR at a time? Oh, a lot of people, hundreds of people. It's crazy. That thing accepts a lot of connections to tune. It's just amazing. I don't remember the maximum amount of people that can actually be there at a time, but it's huge. It's really something. It's not like the Kiwi SDRs where it's just like 4, honestly. Bobby Burgess says, what, the Texan R912 was the first cheap shortwave receiver you got? My first cheap portable was not the Texan R912. My first cheap portable was, let me think about it. It had a digital readout. And darn, I gotta find it. My first one, I think it is a Texan. But it's a Texan that had a digital display on it. Was it a Texan? I'm really trying to remember if it's a Texan. Let me just check if I can see it real quickly here. Because my first was, I'd like to find it really fast. It'd be nice if I could see it quickly. And unfortunately, you know, that is the way things work sometimes. It's impossible to find really quickly. Oh, yes, I did. My first cheap one. Yep, my first cheap one is this one. The Texan DR920. This is my first cheap portable. This is the first cheap portable. Then I got the Texan R9012. But this one is the first cheap portable, the DR920. Which is a surprising radio, and that thing cost something like $25 at the time. So this is my first real cheap portable receiver, and I bought it because I think I bought it before the R9012 because the R9012 was also available because I wanted to have that digital display here. Now it's an analog radio, so it's kind of a frequency counter. It's a little off sometimes. But you know what? This is well, Duracell batteries. I need to check that out. I haven't used this one in a long time. I'm gonna have to check that out. This is a nice one. I'm gonna keep it close. I need to use this and maybe even do a few videos. So that was the one, the DR920, Texan DR920. Is it still available on eBay? I gotta check that out. eBay. eBay.ca. Texan DR 920. Is that available still? Yeah, it's still there. 35 Canadian dollars, which is about like what, 30 US dollars? It's still there. It's still available. Oh, I got it here even cheaper. Oh, plus $10 shipping, so it's 30 bucks anyways. I need to do a few videos with that. I haven't done videos with that in a long time. So you see the DR920 is still available. I remember it performs not too badly. It performs not too badly, honestly. I need to check that out. I'll do some videos this week with this thing. I need to check it out. Then I got the R9012, which was very surprising for a very cheap analog radio that doesn't cost much. You know, anything below 20 often is very shitty and very bad. But I gotta say, these were amazing. I remember this I paid like 25 or 27 bucks, kind of a little while ago, you know, at least 6 years ago, something like that. Hey, Keegan, nice to have you here in Northwest Arkansas, between 76 and 80. Here we hit about 70, 71 Fahrenheit today. Wasn't too bad. Wasn't too bad. So, pretty cool. Am I picking up Mexico on 6185? I did it's a while since I haven't received it. Let me just check that out. If I hear something right now. 6185. There's something weak. There's something weak. I'd say that there's a little peak that like really goes up a little bit. If I didn't have all that noise here, I would be picking it up right now because it is visible there right now. MDK2 says, I've been listening to the Cuban Lady and keeping a log for almost a year and a half. Never heard it jammed, but I have heard Radio Havana Cuba hearing in its place many times. Oh yeah. That's the funny part, when they actually put the wrong feed. I remember listening to 10715 and hearing Radio Havana Cuba. And I'm like, okay, they kind of messed up. Has anybody ever heard the reverse? Because we heard Radio Havana Cuba on the Cuban Lady, but has anybody ever heard the Cuban Lady on one of Radio Havana Cuba's frequencies? That one would be hilarious. Honestly, that would be really, really funny. So, yeah, well, you know what? The trolls are the same person. Each troll that was here is the same person. And I know who. One day I'll get really pissed off and say a name. Yeah, that is the same person. St. Joseph 74, nice to have you here. Pretty cool. K5BGL. Yeah, pretty cool. Pretty cool. Yeah, anybody that has the possibility to ban someone, it's you just go for it. When an idiot posts in the chat, you just go for it. You know. Robert Prosper says, if you live in an apartment in a place like New York City, cheap portables are the way to go with a random wire antenna. Yeah. Mark Clark, nice to have you here. No, it's pretty much the same. It's just that the RF gain is set low here. I'm at -4 dB. If I set it higher like this, look at that. That's noise for you. I just set the gain so that the display shows lower. Because anyways, anything in the noise I don't hear. You know, that big peak here is what? Oh, that's Radio Japan in Japanese. 6105.
この後番組の途中からですが、ラジオ第一放送の番組をお送りします。
Radio Japan 6105. That's from, isn't that broadcast from one of the US stations? 6105. Let me check that out here. EIBI space. You know, they have such a great signal in Japanese all evening. Why don't they have at least half hour of English? It'd be fun. It's there anyways. What would it change to them to have a 30-minute English within that broadcast? Maybe we should ask them. Honestly. So Radio Japan, 02 to 04, it's from France. Yeah, it says /F, which means it's broadcast from France into Central America. Huh. I thought it was from one of the US broadcasters. Wow, what a good signal. Radio Japan from France, 6105. That's a pretty good signal. Honestly, very good signal. What else do we have? Let's go down. Let's go down. If you have a good antenna, 6285 is now coming in weak. Popular pirate frequency for Europe. 6285. Anything there? I have a... There's definitely something. I could see the peak go up and down. It's really the noise floor that's the problem. Because it is making it. It's definitely there. In the noise. It's definitely there in the noise. The machine I'm on now, did I install any software? Let me just check it out here. Did I put multi-PSK here or something? Yeah, I got multi-PSK installed. Multi-PSK is there. So yes, I could do WeatherFax, Bobby. Winner 6, nice to have you here. Super Bowl quite active with US stations. Let's check it out. I haven't checked it all day. 27. Let's check that out. Anything on 27.025. Let's put a little more gain on this one. Yeah. Look at that. Not very strong though. We'll leave it like that a little bit, but I hear there is some sporadic E-skip happening right now. I'm hearing it a little bit. Pirate on 69.24.9. Let's check that out. Upper sideband, or I'm just gonna lower the gain again. Lower the gain again. We're gonna lower the gain again. Look at that iono sound going through. This is cool. We see it going through the frequency range of full megahertz here. Amazing. I'm always amazed at these iono sound stuff. What do we have here? So nothing really I'm hearing on the pirate side. There's this peak here, which is something here. The sideband. And this the Morse code from 4XZ in Israel. 4XZ in Israel and 6607 CW. I'll put it in CW mode here. That's 4XZ in Israel. 6607. Anthony Guerrero, nice to have you here. To answer your question of what you saw on near 4840, the sweeping here is Kodar. So if you listen to it like this, So that chirp, chirp, and you have some down the frequency here. There's even some on the 13 megahertz range. It's CODAR. CODAR is a type of radar that's scattered all across the seaboard. And it actually sends these chirps and receives the echoes of the ocean waves. So it can actually measure the height of ocean waves using that, Anthony. Super Bowl has been a great channel. Yeah, in the summertime, you know, with the Spartak East season coming in, it's more and more. And as we're in June, July, it's the two best months for that. So expect lots of activity on the Super Bowl channel, which is channel 6, CB channel 6, 27025. Oh, you heard HM0 on a frequency of RHC on 11880? Oh, that's kind of nice. That's kind of weird. Hey, G. Brendan, nice to have you here. Yvonne says, Joe Kib has many problems with the studio to transmitter feeds. They even have FM transmit sending mono because of limited audio feed connection. Sometimes 5025 Rebelde also has bad audio. Yeah, they have had a lot of problems. Yeah, Jane Tiger, Radio Japan, konnichiwa. Wade Spencer, nice to be here. It's nice to be able to see a night show. Thanks. My pleasure. You know, I thought, why not fire up the live stream and do a little live show today. Of course, we'll be live tomorrow at 2000 UTC. And you know what's nice about these late shows, as G. Brendan says, loves these late shows, is the fact that it's easier for a lot of people in especially you guys in North America. You know, anybody in North America, because you know it's later in the evening. It's 10:17 p.m. here, 10:18 p.m. So in the West Coast it's 7 p.m. It's, you know, we're in the prime time of the night in North America. So much easier for you guys especially you guys that work in the daytime and stuff. Venner 6 to 6925 lower sideband random music. You must ask in Japanese. Well, they do understand English and French. They do have both. In lower sideband, I'm going to try lower sideband then. Neil Young on 6924 lower sideband. Piet Mondrian student says, is the Texan PL660 better than the 880? I can't really compare because I don't have neither, but I would guess they are probably close to being equal. The 880 has one feature that I would find interesting, is the fact that the single sideband tuning is a little more precise. It has like a decimal after the point, which makes it much easier to tune in more precisely. But I think both are great radios, honestly. So let's try that 6925. Whoops, 6924. Lower sideband, you guys say? Not hearing anything. Not hearing anything there. What else do we have here? Let's go down to a 59. So what are the peaks here? So there's Radio Vanuatu. Radio Vanuatu has been weak lately on 6000. Here it is. Very low audio. Wow. Radio Vanuatu is very low audio. Very low audio on 6000 kilohertz tonight. This is horrible. This is really, really bad. What else do we have in here? Let's check. WBCQ in 5130 coming in really well.
It's because you let that idiot box, the television program,
that idiot box,
days that your mother and father set you in front of the TV for 12 hours a day in your crap-filled diapers. It's not too late to admit we're a sick, decadent, degenerate society, crumbling. We are Rome. It's 4:10. We're about to collapse, ladies and gentlemen. I know you won't know. You know about LeBron James. You don't know 4:10 is when Rome completely fell to Alaric, the Visigoth leader. You better learn.
What is that? Is that Alex Jones? You weren't warned. And you were watching TV in your crap-filled, what? Diapers? Oh, God. 0xBACA, nice to have you here. Yvonne says, try to turn your sloper into a loop. Noise floor will drop and move your feet point away from the building. Yeah, I need to try, you know, that's a few things I need to try this summer. I need to experiment with antenna designs. It's really something I need to do. Hearing the station on 6105 here in Northwest Arkansas. Yeah, Radio Japan. Really good signal. Anthony Guerrero. Yeah, absolutely. Cool stuff, absolutely. Yeah, Veneer 6. I have heard. I had reception once of the buzzer with that sweep from the Kodar. So it's really cool. Let's just go down. G. Brennan says 6607 CW storming into Toronto. So that's 4XZ from Israel. Robert Prosper, I wonder if atmospheric nuclear testing produces a detectable signature that radio listeners could pick up. That, I don't know. I don't know. It does create a pretty big electromagnetic pulse. But, Mark Clark, oh my God, that looks like Windows 10 looked like Windows 7 on the last show. Yeah, this is Windows 10. This one is Windows 10. Windows 7 is on the desktop. Where's DX the cat? DX the cat is strolling outside. You know, it's summertime. He's outside all the time. He's having his fun with his friends and his white skunk friend. Check if 6050 is coming in. That's HCJB out of Quito, Ecuador. Nope. Very, very weak. Barely hearing them talk. 6050 for me is better in the winter time with HCJB. And by the way, for those who want to listen to HCJB out of Quito, Ecuador, that's the only frequency left. 6050. They're in different South American languages like Quechua and stuff like that. And sometimes they have like a music show. And they have the most beautiful Ecuadorian music. But for me, 6050 is better in the winter time. In the summer, it's always a difficult one. Robert Prosper, do any expensive or other radios offer automatic SSB tuning? Not really. A single sideband is more of a manual tuning thing. Honestly, there's no real automatic. But you know, single sideband tuning isn't that difficult. It's a question of getting used to it, and it's a question of knowing where you're in, in upper or lower sideband. But once you get used to it, it actually isn't too difficult to tune in single sideband signals with most modern radios today. Yeah, I do. I've seen the static crashes also. You could see the general noise level like move up slightly. You could see that there is some static crashes. That was Ted Nugent. I don't know who it was. It didn't sound like Alex Jones. The voice was different. Yes, Jane Dagger, that guy is human, and he said that we were watching TV with our diapers full of crap. Wade Spencer says well. Nice to have you here. Take care, Jane Dagger. Always nice to have you on board, and stay safe. Always nice. Tomorrow, 2000 hours UTC. Nope, 4055. That one is a very difficult one. 4055 is also a noise floor reception. Now it's not even making it right now. I sometimes will hear faint music, for example, around 0400, 0500 on 4055. Unfortunately, my noise level is too high. Because if it wasn't at that, man, it would be, you know. Well, it's difficult, Robert Prosper. You know why? Because single sideband is an on and off thing. So when the person stops talking, there's no signal to tune. So it's kind of difficult. Probably not impossible. I'm sure somebody somewhere could probably do something that would auto tune. But you know, would it be able to discern, is it an upper or lower sideband? I don't know. Well, you know, with today's technology, anything's possible. Okay, Charles Williams. So it wasn't Alex Jones. It was equivalent to Alex Jones. So Alex Jones on 4840. Okay. Winner 64XZ on 6605 upper sideband. Yeah, by the way, when I say a frequency in CW, always remember that you can tune the same frequency 1 or 2 kilohertz below it in upper sideband, by the way. So, hey, I'm just going to shed my little information here if anybody wants to donate to our show, because we are live and we do these live shows, and maybe make me want to do more, live shows. You could send your PayPal donation to the Yahoo email here, or you can join patreon.com /radio and computers. Thanks for anybody that has donated, and I'm always checking out for those that have never donated before and could spare a little something. And thanks for all those that have donated. It's always much appreciated. Hey Fabrice, bienvenue. Hello there, nice to have you here as we are on this unofficial live show. It's kind of fun, kind of fun little thing here. Just gonna check it out here again, see everything is fine. And God, my beard is like all weird. Just gonna check if everything is all right. I hope everybody's enjoying our live show as usual. So, pretty cool. Pretty cool. So let's just detach the chat room. I hope everybody's having fun. I'll tune a little bit the bands again and see if we can listen in on some interesting DXing here a little bit. And I hope that take care, Ivan. And tomorrow, 2000 hours UTC. Taste the Turn. Nice to have you here. Better 6 4XZ is bleeding a bit over 6604 Gander. Yeah, it happens from time to time. Usually I will know that it's there because I'll be tuning in Gander on 6604 and I hear the CW just above it. So upper sideband. This is Gander Aeronautical Weather out of Gander, Newfoundland, Canada. 6604.
This is Gander Radio out.
And it's now out. What's that here? There's some kind of chirping there. Anything in the 5 megahertz range? Check it out. Some aeronautical stuff. 555.
The 4 days are called 128.5. And leaving Bermuda, you're going to use HS 8918 with a back of 6586.
Some aeronautical frequencies that we hear. Oh, look at that. Very strong Royal Air Force out of the UK. Wow, that is strong. Propagation is good tonight.
Visibility 10 kilometers or more, clouds, overcast 1,700 feet, temperature 15, dew point 14.
We have Shannon Volmet also that is back. Look at that, 5505. Shannon Volmet is back on the air from Shannon, Ireland. 5505 upper sideband.
Visibility 4,500 meters. Clouds, dew at 1,700 feet. Dew kilometers at 3,000 feet. Static at 5,000 feet. Cooling driven at 10,000 feet.
Shannon Volmet back. It was off for a while. Now they're back with the information. Is that web SDR? No, this is live radio. This is a radio that I've got here, which is a Fedry software-defined radio. This is SDR console software. So this is a little radio that I've got plugged into my 22-meter long antenna in my backyard. We're receiving real signals. This is not through the internet. Fabrice says very good on 5450. Bobby says 5450 strong. Hey David Fodor, nice to have you here. KD9GEO. Pretty cool to see you here. G. Britton says 5450 strong. Bobby Burgess 5505 okay. So let's see here. What else do we have in our little display here that we could tune in? Let's check it out. Check the peaks. Radio teletype here. That's Stanag. This one is link stuff, the NATO linking stuff. So this is the nut job that was earlier on.
Kilowatts, 2 frame dryers. Now a microwave oven uses 1,000 watts or 1 kilowatt. Here's the damage 1 kilowatt can be done by somebody when they take a magnetron out of a microwave and turn it into a ray gun. This is just a small example.
Yeah.
You don't want to really convince me it's fine. I understand. I'll let you go. And we'll move on, and if you want us to go.
5085 is what? WTWW, I think? 5085 WTWW.
Sure. And next thing you know, now again, you got to keep in mind for the shipping. There's no way that anyone could come up behind us without us knowing it. But something just left to the place of my and just back down.
Okay, taste deterrent. What web SDR are you using? From what region?
Actually, we're the map. That's why this project wasn't able to together, okay? But what made this interesting is I had told Mike, let me come down, because we switch every so often to cover more areas, okay? And we're using teams or two, but he come down with another one.
Yeah, WTWW.
And Mike, you're not going to believe what happened. I just had the most unusual experience with encoding. Now,
let's see if we can hear anything else. We have Cuba. Cuba on 5040. Where you have any Cuba? Not very strong. Radio Rebelde is good. Radio Rebelde 5025 is really strong. On WWV, slightly heard. Let's try a WWV on others, like let's try 10. Nothing on 10. Nothing on 15. Really only 5 megahertz right now for a WWV here. I'm not very strong at it too. So this is WWCR.
their SJW, we're bad. It's $100,000 a year.
And that is Alex Jones on 4840 kilohertz. Yes, it's possible, Keegan, because I didn't set it up. I'll try to set it up for tomorrow, for the live show tomorrow at 2000 UT. But it probably is a little, there's a little delay, but let's just check it out. I'll check it out with CHU. Oh man, it's very much ahead, actually. If you calculate that the SDR is probably about half a second delay.
2 hours, 37 minutes.
My clock is like 7 seconds, 6 to 7 seconds ahead of UTC actually. So it's pretty much. Keegan says WWV on 10 is S4, S5 out of 5. Hey, Walkabout 39, nice to have you here. Bobby says WWV strong on 10. So it's actually, you know, if I want to, it's not a super accurate one, but I'll set it up with this actually. So that it is more reflective of the real time. So you guys will see the real delay actually. So this is CHU 3330. And
CHU, Canada, Coordinated Universal Time, 2 hours, 38 minutes.
There we go. This is much closer to the real time. It might have half a second because of the delay, but this is much better. So it's much better. So this is very close to the real time. Hey Jeff, KD5QDO, nice to have you here. Zach Antle, hey, nice to have you here. Nothing much. We've been tuning around, Zach, just having fun. David Forder, what radio setup are you using? I'm using a AFEDRI, AFEDRI, software-defined radio. A little box I've got here in the back, and it's plugged to my 22-meter long sloper antenna in the backyard. And the AFEDRI is running here. I'm running it on SDR console on a Windows 10 machine right now. So this is the control program that's making that thing work. So NDK2 says only 3 seconds delay for me. Cool. Not too bad. And the stream holds well. No glitches, no weird things. It's pretty solid, pretty rock solid. Because I'm streaming with my Galaxy S7 phone. That's pretty cool. Zach Antle, I got my iPad finally, really liking it so far. Only problem is WhatsApp doesn't seem to be available. WhatsApp, it should be available for an iPad, shouldn't it? Bobby Burgess, 5 seconds. Nice to have you here. Although the iPad is not a phone, and WhatsApp, I think, links with phones. So I don't know. Huh. Kind of interesting question here. 60 people watching, and I haven't even announced anything. So 3330 CHU. Let's hear. Whoops. Always click the wrong place. 3215, I hear what's on 3215? Okay, thanks, Walkable. Nice to have it's nice to have the input of everyone on what the stream looks like. I've really found a great streaming device in my old Galaxy S7 phone. Oh, WWR, oh no, this is WWCR, Nashville, Tennessee. So this WWCR on 3215. And the Big Buzz on 3185. What do we have here? Let's check the check out the 80 meter band a little bit. So let's see the 80 meter band. That is in the 80 meter band.
Miles and miles of highway that was delivered with CCB law.
A little bit of activity here.
Complaining about the noise. It's pretty noisy there for where you are, Gary. Yeah. Well, you certainly can go there and point towards Texas.
Let's check out, just out of curiosity, I want to see if, by any chance, yeah, it's there. Is it there good enough? Getting a little stronger, but not as strong as last week. Radio New Zealand on 13840. Any guys hearing Radio New Zealand on 13840? No, you can't really do that on the iPad for sure, Zach. Jeff KD5 KDO listening to 3916, a trivia net. Oh, that's interesting. I like that. That's fun. I like trivia stuff. Yeah, WWCR 3215 and Bobby. Taze the Terran says, I think I got Alex Jones on 4840 on the Newfoundland Web SDR. Yeah, that's a big possibility. Big possibility. Get John Dembele. Nice to have you here. Just a question, which shortwave station is always audible to test? You can't really, there's really no shortwave station you can actually test on that is always audible because propagation changes. And even the best of stations that's on the air many hours a day often will have periods of times when it's inaudible or weak. So there's really no station you can actually take as a test for any shortwave radios, unfortunately. The general test that you can do for shortwave stations is really tune around the bands and see what you can hear and try it for several days in a row because one of the problems, I saw somebody the other day posting that he had got a Texan PL 600 and that he was returning it because he was not receiving anything, and he tuned it only one afternoon, and that afternoon also we had like a severe geomagnetic storm, so signals were much weaker than usual and everything. And it's like I posted a comment saying don't return it, it's not broken. I'm ready to bet that it's not broken at all. It's just that you tuned in an afternoon at a period of time when nothing was real long. Maybe you have a lot of noise in your home or around where you're tuning in. But I would bet that it's not broken at all. Robert Prosper, how many hours a day does Alex Jones broadcast anyway? Yeah, I know he's on the afternoon, like on 12160, and the evening on 4840. I'm wondering if it's not like a repeat, I would guess. So it's probably a rebroadcast in the evening, pretty sure. Ringo Calhoun, nice to have you here. Just wanted to thank you for your video on WSJT. Got it working with Grid Tracker and SDR Uno. Amazing program, and thank you for making the video on it. Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's nice to help out, for sure. MDK2 says, I have Radio New Zealand, but not as strong as I've had it some nights. Yeah, same here. It was really, really good. Last week was amazing. Amazing. Keegan says 13840. It's 5 out of 5 in Northwest Arkansas. Some noise, fading at times. Okay. Randall Ramsey, hey. Nice to have you on board. And yeah, it's a unannounced, unofficial little evening. But it's been a while. Nice to have you here. So, yeah, David, I know there's band conditions, a website called Band Conditions that can give you propagation conditions, but I don't use them too much or trust them too much, honestly, because there's a lot in propagation, and you'd be surprised sometimes of what you can hear, you know, and we got to be careful in these tools. You got to learn to use them wisely, and got to learn to be able to say if yes or no it is, you know, honestly a good time or not for the radio. And I always say, you know what, whatever conditions you got, whatever you've seen in any website, tune around. Tune around is the best thing you can do. And that's how you'll know. That's how you know on propagation is good or not. But, you know, no problem, Gerton. I'm here for that. And it's pretty cool, pretty cool. So, and you know, yeah, propagation varies a lot and changes a lot over time, for sure. So, hey guys, we've been on for what, an hour and 47 minutes. So this was kind of a quick, just have fun time. I'm gonna kind of take the rest of the evening relaxed, listening to Shortwave on the SDR. Tomorrow, 2000 hours UTC for some fun. We are going to have a lot of fun, and I'll have beer, and we'll have radio, and we'll talk about radio, answer questions, and I'll have a I've made up a list of signals that could be of interest in the utility world, and also of some of my favorite shortwave broadcasts. We're going to go through that tomorrow. So thanks for being here. Always nice to have you on board. And you know what? Throughout this summer, expect to have these unofficial streams regularly showing up and popping up on the channel. And it's a lot of fun to have all of you here, always. Take care, everybody. Love you all. And see you soon. Tomorrow, 2000 hours UTC. Let's pick this up. Bye-bye, man. Love you all. And it's time to stop the stream.